On
Like
on Glenwood?
Yeah, the one on,
That's the north side of Glenwood.
okay, because it's, yeah, it's on the corner. I wonder if the school had any issue.
different water main for the school.
Yeah, it's different. There's a junction right at Glenwood and Bryn Mawr. So they're able to cap that while this north side of Glenwood to Ridge doesn't have water because it would affect me, but it doesn't. Yeah. So each main street has a junction. Yeah.
It's Hollywood right now, right? Hollywood and.
Join the ward newsletter, we've got a map. The most disruptive piece of all that, if you don't live right on that street, is part of Bridge is gonna be closed down.
It'll be just like when part of Bryn Mawr was closed.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Glenwood is the worst street. So rough. Woof. Considering people are supposed to ride their bikes on that street, it's terrible.
Yeah, we're resurfacing it.
Are we good for our
It's
agenda?
terrible. My memory.
Till for a second. It hasn't been an hour and a half we have talked. This is all an hour and 20 minutes. It's a quick meeting.
Emails to
I
check.
know you do.
This is
Next one, announcement, comments, I think, I did, yeah. Go ahead. I did want to mention that, next year, there will be the Argyle Lunar Year Parade. We're expecting
With
to
a
have a
float?
float. So.
I want to come. I had to miss it this year.
I will be,
The float will have lasers.
I feel
no,
like
I don't think those are allowed.
the Peirce Pride characters might actually want to talk to you about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
but
knows?
would there be, like, if it's a,
know.
maybe like a smaller one?
I'll
Yes,
just
I'll let them know,
remind them.
because they probably have like different
You
sizes.
want to upstage your float?
Yeah,
Is there a float vendor?
I don't know.
yeah. Well, if you're looking for a vendor, I have one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I know somebody. Who knows somebody? Yeah.
Okay, so just a little, sally back from the last meeting, we discussed, bullying, and since then, I've had far more parents have come to me with their concerns of bullying at the school, with them feeling nothing is changing, they don't see any plans or nothing, they're feeling really unhappy, and I'd like to first say that this is not addressed to no teacher here, absolutely not, it's not even about the teachers at all. So I just wanted to make that clear, but, the bullying seems to be a strong issue. I'd like to know if there's some plans, strategies, something that's going to happen so that when future parents come to me, as present ones are coming, that they can see some change or anything that I can give them feedback and say, hey, we're implementing this plan, we're gonna try this, something needs to be tried more than whatever's been tried. If it's continued to be different parents that are coming to me expressing this. Initially, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I'm just like, if I don't say nothing, I feel like I'm failing these parents as well as their students that are having these issues. These kids are taking tests this week, their educational function in school, how they're, doing their work. And if a lot of these tests are taken, it's proven on these kids, you can think some of the kids, and it's statistically proven that bullies, it's affecting the children in school. So I just feel like if nothing's done, it's gonna be a greater problem. There was enough people who actually understood what I was saying from the last meeting. They too were saying that how parents were coming to them. It's enough parents, it's enough of us sitting here that we continue to keep hearing this concern, and these parents are feeling nothing is happening. So I just want to know, is there some type of resources we can reach out to bring to this school, or anything that can be done? That's for these parents to see some changes. I mean, still having bullying going on even on this report, which I'm shocked by this number here, but I don't know how you guys accumulate this into actually saying what's founded and how that process actually works. But I know that's definitely an issue that needs to be truly addressed. I mean, ultimately, our goal is to make sure these kids are safe, right? This body is primarily to protect the children in the school. Then comes parents, staff, teachers, and so on. But I sit here as a concern for the parents in the schools. And if I keep hearing these parents that continue to come to me, I will continue to be the voice to come bring you here to this body where we all sit So some sort of change can come, so I can give them some positive feedback. Because right now, these parents are seeing nothing, no feedback. They're seeing nothing, and that should be a really huge issue. I mean, we're here for the kids, aren't we? So if they're being affected, that doesn't make sense. There's enough of them that are coming, not just from me, it's other people that they're coming to, and that's enough to make this really get some sort of serious focus, taking accountability, putting some strategies and steps in place so things can be different. We shouldn't keep hearing it. I shouldn't keep hearing it. None of us should keep hearing it. So the fact that we continue to hear it, it says the change is not good enough. They're not seeing it. These parents aren't seeing it.
So Sonia, as I shared previously, when there's an allegation of bullying, school staff need to be made aware as soon as possible so that we can initiate a bullying investigation and then work to understand the situation, determine whether or not it is in fact bullying, and then to put a supportive plan in place. And so we've worked really hard to make sure that we have completed all bullying investigations. We have had 2 founded bullying investigations this year, and both of those situations have a safety plan that was created for students. And then sometimes when an investigation is unfounded, we then still create a support plan because there may be some peer conflict, which is problematic, and we do want to address that. And so I would say, as parents are coming to you, please make sure that they have notified the school so that we can launch the investigation. Some people do feel like things don't change. That is like a feeling that some people have and that some students have. And it's sometimes very difficult to understand, like, what does change like really look like? We can't completely eliminate peer conflict, but we can give students the strategies that they need to be able to navigate difficult situations with each other. But we do take allegations of bullying very seriously.
So I'm just curious, right, because you're continuing to hear stuff. I wonder, just that next step of actually bringing it into the school administration, maybe it's not happening well. And maybe there's just like an easier way to put it into people's hands of, here's how you talk to school administration.
And after last meeting, I did share via SMORE just some reminders to parents of language that's in our school and family handbook and how we handle situations. So I did take that feedback and repopulated that to the community so that we are communicating in writing the importance of them notifying the school.
How many reports?
We've had 13 allegations of bullying this
2
year.
were found positive.
Two were founded, 11 were unfounded.
Do we want to add a few more minutes for this?
Yeah. So, and that's this
So-
school year?
20 minutes, Chair.
Okay. But do you think you've just, without going into the details of like specific definitions and stuff, more than like 13 people come up to you?
Yes.
So I think that's where it is the beyond 13 aren't connecting to the staff. And I don't know if there's a way to make it easier. I understand, right? Anyone can send you an email.
Yeah, and I
But
had shared
I
with
just-
Sonia, because her and I had a chance to meet before last month's LSC meeting, that Sonia, people are coming to you and they don't feel comfortable like speaking with us. I had, encouraged Sonia to she could be somebody that comes with parents to help advocate on behalf of them, or other parents can come, if they don't want to meet alone. I have met, and some of my staff have met with parents with another person there because it does help them feel a little bit at ease.
Like I mentioned before, a lot of the parents aren't saying anything, and that could be based on when they share information with other parents who've actually come forward and said things, and they didn't see any change from, I don't know if it comes to the teachers, or whatever methods they were using to get it across. It could just be that they're merely sharing with other parents, and for these other parents who aren't satisfied, would discourage them in a bit to say, well, just deal with it, which is not a good thing to do. And of course, I know some of these parents, I talk with some of, a lot of them, you ask me to remember the names, I probably don't, but I know their faces. So I don't want to even bring into so these 2 kids are from this teacher, these 3 kids are, because then if it would feel like I'm gonna point fingers to particular teachers and turn the focus on the teachers, which that's not what I want to do. I do not ever want to turn that focus on the teachers, but I don't believe it sits there with the teachers. I just wanted as a whole to be like addressed, and I don't know, maybe some resources, someone we can bring here, what's the next level? Is what I want to know, if these things are not taken, the parents are satisfied with, you know, the outcome of what's happening, what's the next level, like, for resources, like, what's the, like, administration, do they need to be called in, like, can it, you know, because I just feel like with what's coming in my ear, what I'm hearing, if I look at this, like, 2024 to 25, founded would be two, that's really discouraging, like, and parents even see this themselves, and I'm just be looking at that number two, saying to themselves, it can't be too accurate. So I don't know, and I don't want to do that, even though most of the parents I speak to are fine with me even mentioning this, but I don't want to do that, because we all know these kids belong, know their names, know the teachers, and turn it into something, and put the focus on the teachers, and that's not what I want to do. I want to put the focus where it is, take accountability, do something, like, is there some administration that we can bring here, or administration that parents can go to if they're not seeing a change in this body of this school? What's the next level? I don't ask that just for them, I ask that for myself. I say here, what's the next level we can do if we're not seeing these effective changes in this school that we're gonna continue to keep talking about? What can the parents do?
I'm back to, there's more people talking than are people who are reporting. And maybe they're not comfortable in like a one-on-one. Is there just like a way for someone to anonymously just, you know, say, I want to tell you that I've seen these things that I'm not personally comfortable talking about, but I want to make it aware. And if there's like a way to put that in writing versus a rumor.
There's the anonymous community suggestion box that we have that is shared. They shared that again with the community.
From the site as well?
I'm wondering if we can just put this on the agenda, like for the next meeting, and ask the principals maybe to like present for 5-10 minutes about like, because we're kind of hearing it bits and pieces, like in this body. I don't feel like everybody kind of has the full picture, including myself, of, you know, what the options are, what the steps are, what the work looks like at the school.
So what a bullying investigation is?
Yeah, just like 10 minutes on bullying and kind of what the school does, and that'll give us like a starting place for this conversation. And then if we've got bullying on the agenda, then maybe we can get some folks coming out for public comment to speak to their experiences.
So,
Yeah, I'm not a parent, but I've had to advocate for people. And people are talking to you. I'm trying to understand, is there some type of gap of why parents can't just walk in the door and report something? It's just, I find it odd. I would rather talk to someone who actually is employed at the school than someone who's just like on the playground. No offense to you at all, but like, if someone's responsible for my kid for 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is, like, I'm not going to find that on the playground. So I'm trying to understand, like, what's the disconnect between like facility and the parents outside?
People do walk in and report issues. That happens all the time.
I understand that, like, so like.
That's where it seems like not everyone is. And that's-
Well, there's this little complexity to that. There's a power dynamic between a parent and the school. And if you put yourself in a vulnerable situation, you don't want to, it's not all parents are comfortable or have the social capital to come into a school and advocate for their kid. Some do, some don't. So that's why we have the anonymous option. There's got to be like multiple pathways for them to report, but it sounds like there's still problems.
Right, yes.
But I think to Sonia's point, I think out of the 13, 11 were found that there was a bullying incident. I feel like, you know, if you report it, obviously you felt like there is a bullying, and then an investigation comes out and says, no, it wasn't. And it seems like, I don't think there is a gap between what the report brought versus what the parent expected. I know we don't want to share, I'm part of the 11, and it was a one sentence saying, there was bullying investigation was not found. There wasn't anything like, this is what we did, here are the steps, or here is the next step. If you're not satisfied with this, it was just one sentence email. And I think that's when probably parents are getting frustrated when they're saying like, I'm not seeing happen. Things happen.
Maybe this goes more to like school counselor behavioral than anything else, because I mean, there are folks that are there for student support versus all administration, and maybe it's something that there's just more leadership from that department to, you know, the 11 other folks that aren't the textbook definition, but there was some behavior that was problematic. I think, you know, I heard, you know, that there is some support. I mean, maybe that's the connection, is we're missing, you know, parents who've experienced whatever, I can't say what it is, that need some support, and it's not within the CPS definition of bullying, but there is a need, and we're missing a piece of communication, we're missing a piece of support. And I don't want to get hung up on this is the definition of bullying, because at the end of the day, someone needs some help, and all the dots aren't being connected. And I think that's really what this is figuring out, how do we connect the resources that exist with the people who need versus people just talking back and forth and not having anything happen. Because I think everyone wants a positive outcome. It's just the middle pieces aren't in the right spot. And I don't know what that looks like, but I just feel like there's some loose bits in between to connect things.
But then you come to the point where like parents are going to say, well, I reported nothing happened. I need to protect my kid, and they start fighting each other, and then you
I think
see
that's part of the loose
Yeah.
ends is, you know, it's,
And the fact that the outcome, like we're saying, two was founded. So how that is created, what makes some founded opposed to other things, evidence not being considered founded, and the outcome of seeing this, and some of these very parents that may have been the parents that said it and nothing happened, even if there is a confidential page that they can go to, they may not want to go to that page based on the outcome of when these situations happen. They don't see change, they don't see any progressive moves or anything. So they probably just figure, why even bother go there? Maybe they talk to me as they do the other parents because it's easier that way, to just talk in hopes that it'll get shared by even not even mentioning their own kid. Because some of the things I'm hearing, it's like, oh my God, something needs to happen there. Really, it needs to happen, because these are the kids we're talking about. There's something statistically proven to affect them academically. So we just keep sitting here and we gotta figure this, a different way has to be figured out. If they're not coming to that place to share it anonymously, if they're not coming there, if they're not going to these other avenues, there has to be a disconnect. Why aren't they going there? Personally, I think it's based on the outcome of the situations, when things are reported, when they've made these steps to tell everyone they think they needed to tell to make it aware. Then in the end, nothing changes. And some of those same parents are still in that same thing. So if I figure, why go for this? Parents will keep saying this, and this is what happens. So it's almost like it's not true. Like I said it, the kid is having this, but you know, go further with this. At the end, it's like a slap in the face. Like, oh, that wasn't really important enough. That really doesn't classify bullying to the degree that we're going to say it was a founded investigation. So
so I think Nicole brought up another point of just talking about what are the other services, policies, processes, but you know, we're not all experts here. And
Well, we need a starting place for this conversation, like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not even at like step one.
Yeah.
Um,
But I want to put on that is, you know, there are other resources out there. So part of the conversation is how can we bring some more other resources into it? Don't know what any of those are, but I know that right here, there's more than what we have to bring to this. So maybe that's part of, there's something at the CPS level or something at the city level
that's
that
what I want to
can
know.
ask for something. I don't know what that is, but I know
think
that
the firsthand
we don't have
feedback
to
from
figure it out.
Oliver is like, I mean, that is more enlightening to me about like what we're talking about here than anything else, you know, that we've been saying. So I feel like that firsthand feedback from those 11 families this year and however many last year, Like, I'm wondering if there's like a survey that families need to get, like, after they've gone through this process about like their experience with it, and like, would you do this again, you know, would you know? Because I do think, yeah, families who've gone through this are telling others not to. So I agree with
Yes, I
that.
kind of want to know, like, what's the process? If we're sitting here, there's no change within the school, what's the next level? Like, to get, administration involved from maybe somebody on top of what's going here, how do we get that going if we're not doing it, if it can't happen
Yeah.
here? What's the next level? Who can we involve to bring it, so it's shared in a bigger picture, so maybe it'll get the attention that it needs, because it doesn't seem to be getting it here at school.
Maybe a possibility of creating a committee and voting on it. I think it's only one person that kind of does the investigation. Okay, no, I don't know. That's not asking. It's a question for a question. So I don't know, maybe a little committee and trying to.
So I think-
There are not that many.
Yeah, so I think the recommendation or the suggestion that we understand what goes into the investigation without revealing names or anything that's private information would be helpful, just so that we know, you know, this is
I
what
would
goes through.
recommend that all LSC members read the district's anti-bullying policy, because that would give a really good overview of what happens during a bullying investigation. I think that would be a good first start, and then I can, work with my staff to present to the LSC on what goes into a bullying investigation.
Okay.
But that is currently publicly available to everybody, and it's linked in our staff, our family handbook as well.
Can someone send that around?
I'll email it to everybody.
I think that'll be a good next step to just kind of get us all familiarized with what happens.
And I would also recommend that, like, the LSC members read the family handbook as it is, and if there's specific feedback that you all have on the handbook, I would love to have that as it relates to student behavior in particular.
Okay.
So are you adding that to the next meeting?
What's that?
Are we gonna add that to the agenda?
What do you want to add? What would you like? Just a follow-up conversation then?
Ask people to be able to present,
Mhm.
yeah, on kind of what, how our school handles it,
Sounds good.
some of the numbers, you know.
The numbers are shared, so what
Yeah.
other numbers are you looking for?
Yeah, no, I guess that's it, yeah. Just to talk through it.
Very good. All right. Checking on norms. Thank you, everyone, for always being candid. Again, remember the float. With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone.
I don't know what it is. Sometimes we try to solve this stuff ourselves and forget that,
Hey, I have a silly question. This is gonna be complicated. Because the minute you start talking about like any detail, then there's a way to, so it's number one, arbitrage, number two, privacy. So any kind of details that come out,
closed sessions
that's really the worry.
What's the easiest place to find family, Peirce family handbook?
It was in this morning, it's on the website.
It's called the
Family handbook.
family. Oh, found it.
How do we vote here? Do we have one parent?
That's the one. Back.
I know, but it says vote for one parent. Out of all of these people?
No.
Yeah, you mean.
What the hell? There's 11 of them.
Unity bus.
Let's take this.
But,
It leaves from the Board of Trade,
oh, so,
then it goes
I
up to
get it.
Sound, then it goes to River
but how many
Rapids,
parents, young teachers, staff, students, and
then
then
it goes
goes
to
to the board?
Park Lakeshore Drive, and then just hits high rises and Sheridan.
So it doesn't matter where they are, who they are. What happens if everybody votes for the student?
That's amazing.
It
There's gonna be no parent or young teacher, staff, and same representation from our
And in
end.
the evening, it only runs north.
This is,
There's only like 5 or 10 runs a day.
And it's so.
But when you take
That's
it
amazing.
downtown north, it's a
Yeah.
different bus. They've got LCD screens. It's
This
like
is-
maps.
this is
It's like,
Oh.
it is,
like, I don't even wanna vote. Like, what am I voting for? I don't even know what I'm voting
like,
for.
it passes by like occasionally, so there's,
It's just based on the states.
That's 136.
136.
Okay, so there's 11, there are 11 candidates.
For a little
I gotta pick one.
Then it goes on like.
So, I mean-
Then it goes under the loop for a while, then it goes on the south.
How many groups are there?